I'm in a hurry to get things done. Oh, I rush and rush until life's no fun. All I really gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't.
As I think back to when I first started driving, I can hear my mom yelling at me for going too fast. My whole life there's been a pattern of rushing things, and this was no exception in my first encounter with English 1101 this fall. I am an Eagle Scout, and this is an accomplishment that has taken much time. The Scouts who have the mentality that they can rush through the ranks are the ones who fail. You don't become an Eagle overnight. This example can be applied to my experiences in first year composition. I utilized what I had learned in scouting to help me overcome my hasty tendencies to rush through my writing and grasp the concept that writing is a process. The idea of working towards something step by step is overwhelmingly represented in my biography. 2% of Boy Scouts make it all the way to become an Eagle Scout. This gives a pretty good idea of the struggles and battles that are in the way of a Scout becoming an Eagle. I have certainly had similar struggles this semester in English, but I have learned from my mistakes. There are just a few lessons that had to be learned along the way. Audience awareness and coherence are what I think of when I reflect on my previously graded papers. These are previous weaknesses that I've been able to improve on through the use of the multimodal essay. A multimodal essay is compositions that combine more than one mode, such as text, image, audio, or video. For my production of my biography, my teacher posted a tutorial that was to be followed in order to create the digital essay. There were 6 lessons to be followed, and I wanted to watch them all at once and begin the project. My teacher restricted the ability to let me watch them all at once, forcing me to go through the process of drafting the video step by step, and that is something I'm thankful for. It not only proved to me that the writing process is essential in writing effective papers, but it was something that I was able to use again in my wildcard exhibit. In Scouts there are 6 different ranks, with the first being tenderfoot and the last being Eagle. This is comparable to the steps I took to finish my biography. The process was broken down step by step so that the end result would be a better representation of the work put into what is being worked on. The self-revision process was something that was completely new to me. I never drafted essays in high school because I wasn't a lot of the time, and when I was, revision was not necessary to attain my desired grade. This crippled my concept of the writing process, and I had to learn it this semester as a result. This relates to my experiences with the Scout Law. The Scout Law is a code that is followed, and lists several qualities that are expected to be sought after. This means there is always room for self-improvement, with scouting representing moral growth, and self-revision embodying the growth of me as a writer. For my self-revision exhibit, I chose a paragraph on my essay, The Fiber Persuasion, to revise. Notice that I had similar mistakes that are reoccurring, such as tense shifts and MLA errors, just as I had noticed the specific values from the Scout Law that I was having trouble representing in my life. Within the first week in English 1101, my teacher asked our class to read the first few chapters of the first year composition guide. One thing that stuck out to me when reading was one of the goals for the year. Understand the collaborative and social aspects of the writing process, and demonstrate an ability to critique the writing of themselves and others. I didn't understand the importance of being able to critique the writing of others. I was afraid to criticize others' work, and in my first peer revision, I provided very little feedback to my peer. I realized that if I expected feedback from others, I would have to give feedback to them as well. When I was a younger Scout, I was asked by my brother to participate in his Eagle project. I didn't want to, because I didn't want to break something and do something the wrong way that could ruin the project. I had to learn that I would do more good than bad. For my peer revision exhibit, I chose the suggested thesis that I gave in Alex von Holen's paper. I was scared to criticize once again, but I finally gave a valid suggestion for a working thesis. My experiences in Cub Scouts can be compared to those in high school. I was very dependent on my Cub leaders just as I was my teachers. The jump from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts mirrors the jump from high school papers to English papers. The expectations were higher and there was much more independence. There would be times where I would be in the woods, free to make my own decisions, and this is how it was in college. I was accustomed to having a set topic and being guided the whole way through, but in English there were options, decisions that I could make. One point I made in my biography was that Boy Scouts promoted a blend of independence and teamwork. This is true for English 1101. We had that independence, but always had the feedback from our peers if we needed help. This all relates to my experience to my first college essay, Friend or Foe. I didn't know where to begin, and I certainly didn't follow the writing process. I put no time into it, and my grade reflected that. I would have to learn to fix my careless habits. I showed progress by developing a revision that was worthy of praise. I had demonstrated much better coherence and evidence development. I discussed earlier my fear of criticizing others' work. When I learned that Essay 2 was to analyze the rhetorical worth of another peer's essay, I was worried. However, it was a learning experience for me. In high school, my audience awareness was limited to appealing to the reader's reasoning. I never attempted to appeal on an emotional level, and after reading von Hollen's essay, I learned it was an effective method to connect to an audience, something I had been struggling with all semester. This strategy, paired with my new understanding of the writing process, allowed me to fully engage my audience in my wildcard. This is representative of the struggle I have with my Eagle project. I had to use what I learned to finish it, just like I had to do with my essay on von Hollen's paper. The wildcard exhibit is an accomplishment story that I shared by the use of the multimodal essay. I used the process of the digital store tutorial that my teacher has provided so that I could work through the production as a process. This has allowed me to finally connect with my audience, which is something that has hindered my tendency to only focus on appeals to reason. I appeal to reason and emotion in all of my multimodal productions, showing that through the use of the multimodal essay, I've been able to become a better writer. The multimodal essay forces you to do things step by step. The wildcard is a representative of the process of achieving things. They take time, and that is something that has helped me the most in my experience with 1101. If I could wrap up my experience in English 1101 in one sentence, it would be: you get out what you put in. The more and more the semester progressed, the more work I put in and the more things I learned along the way. This is exactly how the journey of a scout was for me. The closer I got to finishing, the more things I learned and the more work I put in. I've applied what I've learned in English in all my classes. If I expect to get a good grade in them, I had better put some time into studying for that class. Though I've learned a lot, there are still many things I have yet to improve on. From the rubric, I haven't yet achieved that distinctive factor, and that is something I'll be striving for in English 1102.
I'm in a hurry to get things done, oh I rush and rush until life's no fun. All I really gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't